Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sam. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the Director of Member Experience here at Advent Coworking. Today, I am sitting in our fishbowl. We have some art by Nico right behind me. And we're so excited to have you, joining us here today for our weekly event, Advent Member Talks. Here at Advent, we're a creative co-working community. We are an event wing, an art gallery, a yoga studio, a podcast studio. But our members and our community is the most important to us and really what makes Advent Advent. So this weekly event that we put on gives our members the opportunity to share their skills and their knowledge, not only within the Advent community, but with the greater Charlotte entrepreneurial community. And each week features a different member on the topic of their choosing. So I'm really excited today that we have Kelley Logan with us. If you don't know, Kelley just opened Natural Lab, which is the gym right next door to Advent in Hub 933. All of our Advent members get a 20% discount at the gym on membership and classes. So definitely hit up Kelley. But today she's going to be talking to us about functional medicine. So if you have any questions, go ahead, type those in the comments, and we'll do a short Q&A at the end. Kelley, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Sam, so much for having me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Advent has been so kind and receptive and just open, and it really embodies everything that I truly wanted to have around me when I was trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to base my community in. So I'm really happy about that. So like you said, I kind of want to, prior to us getting into functional medicine, I want to really introduce myself because I think that is very important that you guys know exactly who you're talking to before you get a whole ton of information. So my name is Kelley. Obviously, I practice functional medicine. I am a functional medicine clinical nutritionist. I'm a personal trainer, group fitness instructor. My background is in kinesiology and nutrition, and then from there, I went into functional medicine. I moved to Charlotte maybe about 6 years ago, and ever since then, I've just loved it ever since I've been here. And it's just been a very, very awesome and wonderful experience. So with that being said, I did just open up the Natural Lab, and I've been training and I've been having group classes and I've been treating people nutritionally for a very long time, well, ever since I've been here. Before then, and I finally got the physical studio that I truly desire. The Natural Lab is connecting the dots in holistic healthcare. So pretty much what that embodies is everything that I would say that I bring to the table when I meet a client. So if I'm working with you, not only would you get the physicality of exercise and any other fitness activity or stretching or any type of wellness therapy, but you'll get the nutritional aspect and the functional medicine aspect, because as we like to really think that, losing weight or getting healthy is about one thing, whether it be working out or eating a specific diet, it's lifestyle. So as that kind of turns me into functional medicine. And so pretty much what functional medicine is, I'm pretty sure we all know the conventional medicine and functional medicine. We're on two different spectrums. So conventional medicine, obviously, you go to the doctor, something is wrong, you get prescribed your medication, you're good to go. All right. Functional medicine is completely different. This is a biology-based, integrative type medicine that gets to the root cause of why things happen. So if you were in a session with me, we would sit down, get comfortable. And as you know, if you were to ever work with a functional medicine practitioner versus a conventional medicine, we're very open, we're very free, we're very vulnerable, because that allows you to be vulnerable. So we cannot connect fully with one another, then I really can't get to who you are and why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So just say, for instance, and I tell all of my clients that, say you were in a relationship and you and that person broke up. And then from your breakup, it made you really, really sad, which typically happens, right? You get really sad. And then from being really sad, you tend to overeat. And then you'll notice, well, you look in the mirror, you notice that you started gaining weight around the stomach area. You're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So people do two things. It's either I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to start eating healthy, or I'm just going to continue. And sometimes it's just that continuing, because we don't know how to pull ourselves out of that emotional stance of still being hurt from that relationship. So anyway, we start to gain weight in the stomach area, which leads to insulin resistance. which leads to prediabetes, diabetes, kidney failure, dialysis, so on and so forth. And as dramatic as that may sound, we truly don't just wake up and become overweight. We don't wake up and have thyroid issues. We don't wake up and become diabetic or anything like that. It's a series of things that happens progressively over a lifetime, over any period of time that make us who we are today. So with that being said, we'll just look at the two different spectrums. Say if it was a diabetic patient and then that's the person that I'm treating. On the MD side, obviously you'll get a specific medication for that. But on the functional medicine side, we're going to see exactly what's causing that. So versus, okay, I'm going to give you metformin or insulin and things of that nature. What is your diet like? What is your emotional state? What is your spirituality like? How is it when you go home? Because all of these play a huge role into why we're making the decisions that we make on a daily basis, right? So that is functional medicine, and I absolutely love it. I have worked with so many patients that have had, obviously weight loss, that's like my number one thing because I just absolutely love it. I have had patients that have had thyroid issues, diabetes, anything that you can possibly think of. I've dealt with that, and we have naturally alleviated the symptoms that come along with that. And so a big thing about functional medicine as it relates to me, the reason why I truly got into functional medicine and training and doing what I do, which I absolutely love, is because I was that person too, right? At some point, and I think it's different. Like, I think it's very important, especially as a practitioner. I was the person that was sitting on the other side at one point where I needed to work through the different things in my life to figure out exactly why am I here at this point. And when I got to that, and I started getting really deep into functional medicine, I almost got obsessed. Like, I was so obsessed with functional medicine because when you learn the human body and how amazing it is, and how powerful it is once you give it the right things to heal, it does exactly what it needs to do on its own. So with that being said, I kind of want to give you guys some tips as it relates to weight loss, as it relates to health, just some quick tips that you can use on a daily basis that I think that we don't necessarily pay attention to when we're thinking about, how we're living our life and what's being progressively causing the symptoms and the things that we've been experiencing over time. So my number one tip, and I tell people this all the time, is number one, get real with yourself, right? Like, get real. The reason why I say get real is my number one tip is because a lot of times when we're trying to figure out exactly what's going on, we like to hide or cover up all these underlying things and just state exactly what's on the forefront. So I can tell you about the day-to-day things, going on in my life, but I haven't shared with you how I emotionally feel. And that is huge upon your health, right? Or I'm telling you, well, no, I eat this, that, and the third, but I'm not adding in the little snacks here, the little candy here, the little chips here. Get real, right? So that's number one. My number two that I use and I go by with all of my clients is treat your body like a car. Now, this is so important because in Western society, we have been taught that there's a specific type of food and a specific thing we need to do to when we wake up in the morning, that's having breakfast, right? When really breakfast is breaking your fast. It's not breakfast, this word that we've created, right? And so a lot of times around that word that we've created, we have the Pop-Tarts, we have the muffins, we have bagels, and all these different things that are now breakfast food versus breaking that fast. So breaking the fast means, okay, I've been sleeping, I've been resting for a certain amount of time. Now I can go ahead and eat. Now, this is what I mean by when I say make sure you treat your body like a car. So if you wake up in the morning, your body's been really, really rested and your insulin levels are low. These are your fat storage hormones are very, very low. Those fat burning hormones are high because your stomach's completely empty. The first thing you want to do, you do not want to do, is throw something in your body that is very, very difficult to break down and very high in sugar and carbohydrates. Why is this so important? It's because a lot of times when we do that and we've been dropping and our insulin levels are very, very low, as soon as we have that large spike and drop and spike and drop, and then we don't understand why are we so tired throughout the day. Or if we give our kids the muffins or bagels or whatever, well, why are my kids not paying attention in class? especially when we're doing, virtual schooling. These things play a huge role into why we're not cognitively as connected as we would like to be. And then eventually that leads, to things later on in life. So what that means is treat your body like a car. When you get in your car and it's a snowy and it's a cold day, people typically, you go in your car, you turn it on, you let it warm up for a while. And then you drive down the neighborhood, it's probably about 25 miles per hour. And then from that 25 miles per hour, you get into a different residential area and it's about 45 miles per hour. And then you finally hit the highway and it's about 60 to 70 miles per hour. So you progressively do that. Now, if you were to get in your car on a snowy, cold day and you just take off, what happens? We completely ruin our engine when we progressively do this all the time. Same thing with their body. So if we're waking up and our body's been resting and relaxing and we put our foot on the gas full speed, whether it be, throwing in that carbohydrate or something that's hard to digest, like steak and eggs in the morning or steak by itself first thing in the morning, then it's going to have a very difficult time trying to break that down. And progressively that may lead to a bunch of different things. Number 3, one other thing that I like to mention with all of my clients is, as much, again, back into Western society, as much as we would like to believe that snacking is appropriate, try to cut it down to 3 meals a day. Now, the reason why this is so important, and I know that we've all gotten into the snacking culture, and again, that leads into other things that are around marketing and how we are as a culture today. The reason why you don't want to do that as it relates to insulin resistance and diabetes and things of that nature is because every single time you eat, you're spiking that insulin. That is that fat storage hormone. And so you're doing this progressively over the day. Eating isn't just consuming something that you're chewing. That is your gum. That is your liquids with calories in it. That is anything actually with any calories, carbs, or sugar in it. Right. So we're doing this progressively all day long. Eventually, our body's like, you know what? We're not listening to you anymore. We're going to lock the door. So the glucose that you needed, that sugar that you needed to, provide you with energy, and now gets stored around that stomach area, and we don't want to do that. Okay. My 4th tip, which is very important, is to make sure that we understand exercise is extremely essential, but having a proper nutrient dense diet is even is much better, right? And I don't want to say much better because we use the different things we use exercise and nutrition or whatever for our own different personal reasons, but we have to balance it too. And so I would tell a client, when you come to the gym and you're working out, don't come to the gym, work out, and then go eat whatever it is that you want. We have to stay consistent so we make sure that, everything is aligning the way that we need it to be. And my very last one, and this is very important, being that the way that we eat food kind of sets the tone on who we're going to be and how our body digests food throughout the day, is really focused on food timing and combining. Now, food in itself, like eggs take about 2 hours to break down. Chicken takes about 2.5, 3 hours to break down. Steak or pork takes about 4.5, 5 hours to break down. Vegetables, 30 to 45 minutes. Carbs, 30 to 45 minutes. The proper combination of food is protein and veggies, or carbs and veggies, not the protein and carb. And why is this? Because when 2 different foods have 2 different breakdown times, it has a lag time. And with that lag time, it gets stuck in the digestive system. And then with our typical Western style of, 3 meals and 2 snacks, those foods pile up on top of each other. And as they pile up on top of each other, it is slow digesting. So if you notice that you have any stomach cramps, or you're not properly going like you're supposed to be, or headaches, or whatever the case may be, inflammation, maybe it looks like acne or back pain, that could be the culprit to that. So those are my 5 tips that I absolutely love. If you guys have any questions around that, then I would love to hear it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelley. Would you mind giving like a quick run through real quick, just of the 5 steps, like a little overview?
Yes. All right. 5. Here we go. 5. Number 1, get real with yourself. Okay. Get real, be open, be honest. Number two, well, we just said this one last, focus on food timing and combining. Make sure that we're combining the proper food. Number three, treat your body like a car, all right? Make sure that not only are you putting in adequate food, but food at proper timing, all right? Number four, no snacking. Snacking is not great all the time, and it just depends. But the reason why I say no snacking, especially if you're trying to lose weight or reverse any type of illness or whatever the case may be, you want to limit those snacks that we have. And number five, make sure that we are nutritionally balanced. Not only are we focusing on our nutrition, the exercise in itself is balanced together to where they weigh each other out together, and you're creating the lifestyle that you desire to live.
Awesome, thank you. So we have a few questions
Sure.
getting DM to us. So anyone else watching, we know there's like a 1 minute delay or so between the live and you seeing this, but go ahead, comment those questions, and I'll pass them on to Kelley. So first question we have is, what advice would you give to someone who has a hard time eating, healthy, or exercising because they don't have a lot of free time? So maybe they can't cook a healthy meal because they work overtime,
For
and
sure.
so to take out.
Well, you know what? I think that is an excellent question because I didn't understand this when clients used to come to me and say, well, I really physically don't have the time, until I was in that position, like, oh my God, I really don't have time, you know? So there's a couple things that you can do. Number one, obviously there are days that you don't have time to allot to yourself, but there has to be some time, some days that you shut everything down and make sure that you just focus on you. I think that a lot of times we get so caught up, and I do this too, we get so caught up in maybe work or lifestyle or spouses and children and all this other stuff that we neglect ourselves. And I always tell people, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So with that being said, if you're not diligently focusing on you at some point of time, then the rest of the things are going to lack. But I say that also to say, with that being said, we can manipulate that to where there is time where we can, prepare healthy meals if that's not even the case. Maybe work with a chef, and there's a ton of healthy meal prep places that allocate that. But I think that the majority of it is really trying to fit in where your time works for your schedule. Because even in my situation, I realized that I was dedicating so much time to other people and other things, I was neglecting myself. So at the end of the day, yes, we can go out and get all these things, and that it's going to help. But ultimately, we have to make sure that we're a priority first, because if not, we're not going to be able to give the way that we want to other people.
For sure. And I know like another question we have definitely tied to that own, how do you make that time for yourself is, do you have any advice for getting your sleep cycle in check? I know this is a huge like issue
Yeah.
for us who just want to, we get home late, we want to just keep watching TV or what have you. So any advice?
Yeah. So the biggest thing about that, and I'm going to be 100% honest, the biggest thing about that is like you have to be so disciplined on yourself. It's not even funny. I'm sorry, like you have to be disciplined. There's nothing that is more important. Let me tell you something about sleep. Sleep helps you recover, it helps you think, it helps you break down vitamins, it helps you break down food, it helps you lose weight, it helps you decrease anxiety, depression, all these different things. So that kind of does tie exactly into what you're saying, being that we have to choose us. We can't choose the TV sometimes, we can't choose somebody else sometimes. And you know that that is an issue. We have to make sure that we manipulate our time to forcefully say, you know what, I'm shutting everything down, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm sleeping. So later on, maybe I can add the TV and I can add whatever it is in. But ultimately, if you're not sleeping, that means that there's a lot on your mind too. So I like to tell my clients to make sure that, a lot of journal is really, really good. Stay off your phone when you're about to go to sleep, because a lot of people are on their phone like, I can't go to sleep, but I've been scrolling for 2 hours. I mean, I'm just saying, it's the truth. It's like, stay off your phone. Maybe if it helps you to turn the TV down or turn it off. I know for me, sometimes it's difficult for me to go to sleep. I journal every single day so that it really, really helps to do like a mind dump. But I like to hear sound in the background. So maybe I'll hear like some meditation music or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, it's forcefully telling yourself, I have to do this for me, again, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. And I know like for me, definitely like that kind of staying up late, like that's a choice.
It
And
is.
but I know like I mean there are a lot of folks too who just have sleep disorders, or other things kind of like that within like functional medicine. How do you connect to traditional, like I don't know, like taking medicine for things, or how do you like combine your practice with other
Sure.
types of things?
So this is the thing. I 100% agree with conventional medicine. We are not separate from one another. We work very well together. The only thing is this, especially for medication and even with supplementation, because we do prescribe supplements for a lot of our patients, these should be temporary things, right? Shouldn't be something that you should be on long term. I've had patients that have high blood pressure and they were on blood pressure medication. Along with them being on blood pressure medication, we're going to alter their diet. But in order for us to even alter that and to potentially allow the doctor to remove the blood pressure medication, we have to get to the root of why that's happening, right? And so we have to sit down and say, okay, if there's high blood pressure going on, are you stressed? Are you eating a lot of salt? Is your sodium high? Is your potassium low? Are you not paying attention to your cortisol levels? Is your insulin converting into something? So, in the midst of you still being on that medication, that goes into my number one, get real with yourself, right? Because a lot of times, some of these things, as we start to break it down, we have the answers to, and sometimes we just need that help. So, functional medicine kind of comes in, pulls everything out of you so you can get real with yourself as you're on that medication, start to patch up anything that you may have, you know, potentially ruined in the body, as it will naturally heal itself. And then as the body starts to heal, that'll be a possibility that you won't have to be on medication. Because with my clients, I never want them to be on medic. I don't want them to even be on supplementation for the rest of their life. And the reason for that is because your body is supposed to absorb everything that you need, and you should be eating the nutrients. Now, if we live in an area where, and we do, um, where the soil quality isn't that great and we have to have a little bit more nutrients added to our everyday lifestyle, or we're having stressful time at work, or is that season. I know I have a lot of accountants that work with me during the season because they're so stressed out. Then yeah, supplement, but it is not something that we should be doing all the time. So yes, conventional medicine comes in, they'll take care of you and the symptoms that you're experiencing, just to kind of mask it. They give you the Band-Aid, but we don't want you to have the Band-Aid. We want to rip it off. We're going to go ahead and patch it up, and then you won't need the Band-Aid later
Gotcha. And at the beginning of your talk, you kind of started with your example of, if you go through a breakup
on.
or something like that. And so we had a question go up that's kind of, when you see someone going through something. So, if you do see someone going through something and maybe their, behavior has changed, their habits have
Yeah.
changed, they're maybe not taking care of themselves in the same way they used to. How do you talk to them about that in a loving way?
So I think that it starts with the connection that you have with the person, and everything is a conversation, right? I say that with literally any and everybody. Everything is just a simple conversation. And I think that that in itself is already loving enough to even acknowledge that, and to even be able to say, hey, I really want to talk with you. I noticed that you haven't been happy. And this is really taking a toll on your health. I noticed that you're just really not as connected as you would be. I would love to go this journey with you to help you heal, because you want to make sure that you're allowing people to feel like they can connect with you. Even in my practice, I can honestly say I've never had anybody that I couldn't connect with, because I've probably been through everything that everybody's been through. But that connection point, that openness, that vulnerability allows people to, okay, you're right. I'm here, I'm open, you're open. Let's help each other. So in addition to, giving advice, walk with them through it. Say, I'll go through this with you, or I'll take care of your first consultation, or let's go grocery shopping together, because maybe there's some things I need to, work on myself. So
Nice. So really focus on the relationship you have with that person.
100%.
Absolutely. So you also, you mentioned sometimes like Western practices and expectations and things like that. So I just personally was, curious in regards to like how do you align with like other cultural norms? Definitely like Western culture, like white beauty standards, right, have effects on greater society on how folks see and feel about themselves. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on, other cultures and other ways of seeing like what is a healthy body or what does it even mean to be healthy?
Yeah. And so even when I say Western culture, that is Western world, right? It is not a specific subgroup of people or a country or whatever the case may be. So we're looking at the world as a whole in this Western world. With that being said, if we are breaking it down into um, Indian culture or African American culture or the Asian culture or whatever that may be. I've had multiple people that have come, obviously from other countries, moved to the US, and their body didn't respond and react the way that it would normally be. And this is because they don't have the same soil quality. We're probably, the United States soil is probably a little bit worse than theirs, which is, I get it. We don't have the same air quality. We may not have the same resources as far as food. They may not have had the resources that we've had. Some people come over or come to travel to different countries, and you'll notice that you go to another country and you may eat whatever you want to do. You come back, you haven't gained a pound, and maybe you go somewhere else. You're like, oh my goodness, what happened? So food is different. And not only is food different, people are different, and the way we break down things are different. And so let's use an example. One of my past clients, she's from the Dominican Republic. Let's think about that. The Dominican Republic is hot all the time, right? It's typically warm all the time. Very active lifestyle, very connected with family, right? And so then coming over to the United States and moving here where there's no family, there's not as active, sitting in front of a computer, doesn't have the resources to the food that she once ate, your body's going to respond quite differently, but it's understanding those things, right? And so in the midst of that, as much as we would like to specifically focus on the food, we have to focus on how did this person even get to this point anyway, and make sure that we're hitting all of those points too. And it's the same with every single culture. And even with that being said, like we're all different, but ultimately we're kind of all the same too, we all go through our different trials and tribulations. And it's just understanding that and tying it into their culture or whomever's culture and making it work for the individual.
Awesome. I don't know how it's already 5 o'clock.
Wow. Wow.
The 30 minutes always goes so quickly. So like, thank you, Kelley. I'd love to know, like, I don't know, do you have like a favorite part about what you do?
A favorite part? Honestly, I love every part, but I will say this. This is going to sound so weird, but I really like this part. When I'm having a functional medicine, it's the functional medicine matrix, and people are sitting down with me. We're doing a whole consultation. In the midst of that, I'll tell them a little bit about me and my backstory and how I got into functional medicine, which is obviously I wasn't able to have time to go dive deep into that, but I'll give them the space to be open and to be vulnerable and to be able to connect with me. And so as we start breaking things down within that, I've had so many people just really release, right? You can see the pain, you can see the suffering, you can see the hurt, you can see so many different things just coming out in that moment, whether it be crying, whether it be breathing differently. I've had, in the midst of it, I've had a hyperventilation, but at the end of it, it was like, whether it be anything really. And so honestly, I don't like to see people hurt, but I like to see that pain be taken away. I don't like to see people, you can physically see when it's hurting them and destroying them, and that bothers me so much. And so when I can see and I can sense like that being pulled off of them, that brings so much joy to me. It is insane. Like it's not even funny. And then the other side of that, once they finish a program, to see them have the confidence and become a totally different person than they were when they first met me is amazing. And so, yes, I love that.
That's so wonderful. I love that. So Kelley, if folks want to learn more about functional medicine, about what you do, get in contact with you, how can they do so?
Well, one, you can come next door because I'm there all the time. Okay, guys, you come next door, come take a class. Your first class is free. And then right after that, you get 20% off of your membership. So definitely come take a class. We can connect, we can talk. I am a talker. Outside of COVID, I am a hugger. So yeah, come on over and talk. You can definitely reach me at thenaturallab.co. Just send me an email, send me a message, and we can connect from there. I do have an Instagram. You can connect with me on Instagram. That's at Kelley, Kelley, the Great, and we can talk there. So all avenues are my avenues, and I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Awesome. And I will post that information, contact information and website when we post this to our YouTube channel, Advent Co-working Videos. So you'll be able to see that in the description section. So thank you again, Kelley, and thank you so much to everyone who's joined us for this week's Advent Member Talk and to everyone who's watching this later. I hope that you'll join us next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. We have Advent member Cameron coming on, and he's going to be talking about non-discrimination ordinances. So it's also another just really important topic.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you, Kelley, and I hope
You're
everyone, enjoy the sunshine.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.